Most women never realize this. The more you accommodate, the less respect you get. Here's the shift that changes everything. When you say no, you stop explaining it. No reasons, no apologies. The people who leave were never respecting you anyway, and the ones who stay, they'll treat you differently. This is the full story of what happens when you finally stop people-pleasing. She said yes when she meant no. She smiled when she was furious. Her coworker asked her to stay late. She opened her calendar, canceled dinner, again. Her friend needed another favor. She heard herself say yes before she had even thought about it. On the surface, it looked like pure generosity. What she didn't notice at first, people-pleasing is not kindness. It is fear disguised as compliance. Your brain actually mistakes this for safety. The constant yes, the endless accommodation. It feels like protection in the moment, but it is quietly costing you something far more valuable than temporary comfort. And then something unexpected happened. The people she gave the most to often took her the least seriously. The friend she always rearranged her schedule for dismissed her opinion the moment it finally came out. The partner she adjusted for again and again stopped asking what she wanted, because she had trained him not to. The colleague she covered for every single time stopped being grateful. He started expecting it. People-pleasing has a price, and it is never paid all at once. It is paid in small installments. A headache here, a sleepless night there, a quiet resentment that builds up over months until it feels like it belongs to someone else entirely. Something interesting happens when this becomes your pattern. When you consistently show people that your boundaries are optional, they do not thank you for it. They stop expecting you to have any at all. And when you finally do set one, it does not read as strength. It reads as a violation of the silent deal they did not even know they had made. That's when everything changed for her. Being endlessly available does not build connection. It builds expectation. She was liked. Of course she was, but she was also completely invisible. And here is where the story splits into two versions. Version 1 is what everyone saw. The woman who never caused friction, never disappointed anyone, never took up too much space. She coasted through life on the surface of every relationship. Accepted, but never truly known. Present, but never fully there. Version 2 was what she felt inside. A woman who was exhausted, not from the things she did, but from the constant mental math of managing everyone else's reactions. Every conversation was a calculation. Every social situation was a performance review she was terrified of failing. She was not living. She was auditing her own existence. For years, she believed this made her a good person, that being endlessly available equaled being valued, that if she made herself indispensable, she would be safe from rejection. But somewhere along the way, she stopped asking herself a question that should have been obvious. Good to who? Because being liked and being taken seriously are not the same thing. She realized she had become an expert on everyone else's needs and a complete stranger to her own. Why did she settle for being liked when she could have mattered? The breakdown did not look like a breakdown. There was no crying on the floor, no dramatic exit, no storming out of a room. It was smaller than that, quieter, and somehow more devastating because of it. She was at a dinner she didn't want to attend with people she did not truly enjoy, and someone made a joke at her expense, the kind she usually laughed off, the kind that stung for a second and then got buried under a smile. But this time, she did not laugh. She just sat there and felt something shift, a bone-deep exhaustion that had nothing to do with sleep. She realized she had spent years of her life in rooms she never chose with people who never really saw her, not because anyone forced her, but because she had never once believed she had the right to leave. She sat in her car after that dinner. No music, no phone, just her reflection in the windshield and a question she had been avoiding for years. When was the last time I did something simply because I wanted to, not because I was afraid of what would happen if I did not? She could not answer it, and that silence was louder than any confrontation she had ever avoided. That was the real turning point. Not anger, not rebellion, just a quiet, sobering realization that hit her like a wave. I have been editing myself out of my own life to make room for everyone else's comfort. Something in her settled that night, not into confidence, not yet, but into a decision. Change did not arrive as a single grand gesture. It arrived in moments so small they were almost invisible. Monday. Someone asked her to take on extra work that was not hers. She paused, took a breath, said, "I won't be able to take that on right now." No explanation, no apology. Her heart was racing, but the world did not end. Wednesday. A friend texted her asking for a favor she would normally drop everything for. She typed out 3 different excuses before deleting all of them and writing, "I can't this time," just 4 words. She stared at them for 30 seconds before hitting send. Then she put her phone down and waited for the guilt to hit. It did not hit. Thursday. Someone interrupted her mid-sentence in a meeting. The old her would have let it go, smiled, shrunk back into her chair. This time she paused, looked at the person, and finished what she was saying, calmly, without aggression, without apology. This is what growth actually looks like. Not a TED Talk, not a revelation, just a series of terrifying small moments where you choose yourself over the comfort of everyone else in the room. The first time she said a real no, her heart pounded. Her voice shook. She over-explained herself, apologized twice, spent the rest of the day replaying it, certain she had made an enemy. Nothing close to that happened. Some people were surprised, a few seemed annoyed, mostly the ones who had quietly relied on her never pushing back. What happened next surprised even her. The less she chased approval, the more weight her words carried. Her opinions started mattering, because she was not handing them out to please everyone anymore. When she said yes now, people knew it was a real yes, not a fear-based reflex. Her word meant something because it was no longer given automatically. At work, colleagues consulted her more, because her input reflected genuine thought rather than automatic agreement. In her personal relationships, conversations became more honest, because she was no longer performing constant availability. She was actually present, on her own terms, and then something she never expected. Some of the relationships she was most afraid of losing did not just survive the change. They got stronger. The friend she finally said no to did not disappear. She called the next week and asked her opinion on something genuine, like she had been waiting for the real version of her to show up all along. The partner who had stopped asking what she wanted started asking again, because suddenly there was something to ask about. Someone with preferences, with edges, with a point of view that was not just a mirror of his own. She had spent years terrified that having boundaries would push people away. Instead, it pulled the right people closer. She didn't notice it at first, but something fundamental had shifted. Intimacy built entirely on accommodation is not real intimacy. It is a performance 2 people agree to keep running. Real closeness requires the risk of being turned down sometimes, and surviving it. She began to understand that constantly accommodating people does not build respect. It quietly erases it. Respect is not earned by being endlessly available. It is earned by being clear. There was a moment months later when someone asked her for something she genuinely could not give. She said no. No explanation. No apology tour. No 3-paragraph justification. Just no. And the person across from her nodded, accepted it, and moved on. She walked away from that conversation and realized she was smiling. Not because she had won something, but because for the first time in her adult life, she had protected her own time without feeling like she owed anyone an explanation for it. That is not confidence. That is freedom. She did not become cold. She simply stopped abandoning herself in order to be accepted by others. Respect is built by clarity, by knowing what you stand for and being willing to say so, even when it risks someone's momentary disappointment. She stopped people-pleasing. And for the first time, people finally met the real her.